Hello, everyone, and we are talking about the Kubiak signing. He's an offensive advisor, which is probably closer to an assistant head coach, if you would. Now, I have a lot of numbers, and passing wise, where Kubiak started out as a quarterback coach back in San Francisco in 1994. The attempts per game are 31.9, yards per game 260.2, 8.5 yards average, 37 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, 53 plays of 20 plus yards, 9 of 40 plus, 35 sacks were allowed, and a quarterback rating of 111.4. And that was his only year as the quarterback coach of the San Francisco 49ers, which earned him a offensive coordinator job with the Denver Broncos for 10 years, 95 to 2005. And I averaged from 95 to 99 and 2000 to 2005. Makes this a lot easier. And for 95 to 99, there was 33.72 pass attempts per game. Yards per game was 225.14. Average was 7.12. Touchdowns 25.6 per year. 14.8 interceptions a year. On average, they had 48.6 plays of 20 plus yards and 8.2 of 40 plus. They allowed 30.2 sacks and a quarterback rating of 85.04. And from 2000 to 2005, there was 32.28 pass attempts a game with 220.86 yards a game with a 7.2 average. But the touchdowns fell from 25.6 to 23.16, and interceptions went up from 14.8 to 16. And the big plays fell down a little bit as well, going to 45.3 for 20 plus yarders, and for 40 plus, 7.5 as opposed to 8.2. And the sacks given up, relatively the same, going from 30.2 to 30.16. And the rating drops from 85.04 to 84.7. And after these 10 years, he goes on to Houston. He becomes the head coach, and he's there from 2006 to 2013. And I sorted this one out for quarterback hits, which they started, or at least the site I was using, started using those in 2009. So I have broken this from 2006 to 2008 and 2009 to 2013. And from 06 to 08, there was 34 attempts per game, 229.13 yards per game through the air, 7 average yards per attempt. Touchdowns, 21 a year, 17.3 picks a year. 20 plus plays, 41.3. And for 40 plus, it was 6.7. They allowed 25.7 sacks with a rating of 85.27. And from 09 to 13, 35.28, 249.32 yards a game, 7.5 average, 22.8 touchdowns a year with 14.6 interceptions, which touchdowns went up, interceptions went down. It's usually what you want to see. And as far as their 20 plus yard plays go, it goes up from 41.3 to 55.2. 40 plus yard plays went from 6.7 to 10.4. And their sacks also went up, though, with 25.7 going up to 32. Their rating was 88.84, and they allowed an average of 85.2 quarterback hits a year. Then he spent a year in Baltimore as their offensive coordinator, and 34.6 attempts a game, 238.7 yards a game, a 7.2 average, 27 touchdowns and 12 picks, 20 plus yarders with 7 40 plus yarders, 19 sacks and 56 quarterback hits with a rating of 91.0. And then his last stint of coaching was in Denver again as the head coach, this time from 2015 to 2016, where they had 36.75 attempts a game and 239.2 yards, 6.95, 19.5, 17 interceptions, 40.5 20 plus yarders, and 9.5 40-plus yarders. They allowed on average 39.5 sacks per year, and their quarterback hits of 98.5 and an 85.95 quarterback rating a year. And then rushing, going all the way back to 95 to 99, I have 30.94 attempts a game with yards per game during that time frame of 138.32, a 4.46 average on their more explosive runs, or 20 plus and 40 plus yarders, 12.8 20 plus and 3 40 plus, and their touchdowns 18.2 with an average of 11 fumbles a year. Now from 2005, you have 32.02 attempts per game, 145.35 yards, and an average of 4.55. 20 plus yarders go up from 12.8 to 18. 40 plus yarders go from 3 to 4.5. Touchdowns from 18.2 to 17.83, and their fumbles drop from 11 to 9.5. And Houston, from 06 to 09, 22.65 attempts per game and 103.15 yards per game. 3.875 was their average. And in their 20 pluses, their explosives, 7.75 and 1.5. And they averaged 13.5 touchdowns per year and 8.25 fumbles. Now from 2010 to 2013, it was 29.55 attempts per game, so that goes up a little bit, and they averaged 130.55 yards per game, along with an average of 4.425, but their explosives suffered a bit here, as they go down from 7.75 to 2.25, but their 40s actually went up with 1.5 to 2.5. And their touchdowns went up from 13.5 to 16, and their fumbles fell from 8.25 to 6.25. And then in Baltimore, after that, Houston didn't go well at the end, but in Baltimore, he ended up with 28.0 attempts a game, 126.2 yards a game, an average of 4.5, 24 20-plus yarders, 340 plus, 16 touchdowns, and 6 fumbles. And in Denver, his attempts per game were 25.65 with 100.1, 3.9 average, 7.5 20-yarder plays, 1.5 40-yard runs, and 12 touchdowns with 5 fumbles a year. So Kubiak is a major West Coast guy, and although his throwing attempts, the averages, they're low, that's just because he uses them as an extension of the pass game. And the run game, the numbers are good, and what he's always wanted to do, he's always wanted to run this West Coast system that uses a zone running scheme that involves having smaller linemen, although the trade-off is maybe they don't have as much power, but they have more athletic traits. He wants to get them on the move. He has more screens. He has more things like that. He gets them pulling. And that's might sound a little familiar strictly because that's what Minnesota's been trying to do since that 2016 debacle, which was horrible. But now they have a guy who is coming in what they're calling an advisory role, which could be multiple things. But they have him coming in, and he's been using this same system for 24 years, and it's worked. So, not bad. And I assume we'll see an offense pretty similar to how Pat Shurmur was running it. And the other thing this could do is kind of help Stefanski as a first-time play caller this season, and just because he kind of gets him a guy to lean on. And it's not necessarily a guy you might worry about taking his job just because Kubiak has, the past few years, taken a step back from all these major coaching positions just because mentally and mental health has been a concern for him, and he's always Well, he's been that way since Houston, really. And so here he is now in an advisory role. Even though Clint Kubiak, his son, will be coaching the quarterback's coach. He'll be the quarterback's coach now. And that will replace Stefanski as he is now the offensive coordinator. And overall, I think this could work really well as long as Zimmer lets the offense do what the offense should be doing. Sometimes it seems like he just kind of wants them to be running at power when it's not built for power. And maybe Kubiak there will kind of be able to communicate better, to veteran coaches, basically. Maybe he'll actually listen to this guy. And anyway, whatever you guys think down, comments below. Until next time, bid y'all adieu.